Imagine you're at a restaurant with some friends. The food was great, the conversation was even better, and when the bill comes, you barely glance at it. You just tap your card, pocket it, and keep laughing. No stress, no hesitation, no pain. Now imagine the same dinner, but this time you're paying in cash. You open your wallet, count out the bills, and physically hand them over to the waiter. Suddenly, the whole experience feels a little different. You notice the number on the receipt a bit more. Maybe you even feel a small sting. Same dinner, same price. Completely different feeling. And here's what's wild. That difference in feeling, it's not just in your head. It's actually changing how much you spend. Not just at restaurants, at grocery stores, online checkouts, subscription services, everywhere. Credit cards are one of the most psychologically sophisticated spending tools ever created, and most people using them have absolutely no idea how deeply they affect the way their brain thinks about money. Here's what most people believe about credit cards. They think it's simple. You spend, you pay it back, maybe you earn some rewards along the way. As long as you're not carrying a balance, you're playing the game smart. Maybe you even feel a little smug about the cash back. And to be fair, on paper, that logic sounds reasonable. A dollar is a dollar, right? Whether you tap a card or hand over a bill, the math is the same. But here's the problem. Your brain doesn't work on paper. Your brain works on feelings. And the way you feel about spending money has an enormous impact on how much you actually spend. There's a reason credit card companies have spent billions of dollars over decades making their cards thinner, smoother, more premium looking. There's a reason checkout experiences are designed to be as frictionless as possible. There's a reason you can now pay with a tap, a watch, a phone, even your face in some places. None of that is for your convenience. It's to make the act of spending money feel like nothing. Because when spending feels like nothing, you spend more. Let's go back to that cash example for a second, because there's actual science behind why it feels different. Researchers at MIT ran a study where they auctioned off the same items to two groups of people. One group was told they could only pay with cash. The other group could pay with a credit card. And what they found was remarkable. The credit card group consistently bid significantly more for the exact same items. In some cases, they were willing to pay more than double. Same item, same people, different payment method. Wildly different spending behavior. Why? Because of something researchers call the pain of paying. When you spend money, especially physical money, your brain actually registers a form of mild emotional discomfort. It's not dramatic. You're not crying over a cup of coffee, but there is a real, measurable signal in your brain that says something of value just left you. Cash amplifies that signal. You can see it, you can feel the texture of it, you watch it leave your hand. Your brain gets a very clear message. That was real, that mattered. But with a card, that signal gets muted. The card comes back to you. You don't see money leave. There's no visual, no tactile reminder of loss. Just a little beep, a receipt maybe, and you're on your way. Your brain still knows intellectually that you spent money, but emotionally, the message barely registers. Think of it like this. Imagine you're dieting, and someone puts a bowl of candy on your desk. But instead of being in a clear bowl where you can see every piece, it's wrapped in a plain gray container with no label. Same candy, same calories. But studies show people eat significantly more from the opaque container because the visual reminder of what they're consuming is removed. Credit cards do the same thing to spending. They wrap your money in a gray container, so the emotional signal of what you're consuming stays quiet. And it doesn't stop there. There's another layer to this called mental accounting, a term coined by the economist Richard Thaler. The basic idea is that our brains don't treat all money the same way. We put money into mental buckets based on where it came from, what it feels like, and how we expect to use it. Cash that's already in your wallet, that feels spent before it's spent. You know exactly what you have. You've already thought about it, and every purchase chips away at a number you can clearly picture. But credit card spending exists in a different mental bucket. It's money you haven't technically given up yet. It's future you's problem. And psychologically, future you always seems a little more capable of handling things than present you. So present you gets the nice dinner, the new jacket, the spontaneous online purchase. And future you will sort out the bill when it comes. Except future you has the exact same brain and the exact same tendencies. And the cycle repeats. This is how people with decent incomes still find themselves surprised by their credit card statement every single month. It's not that they forgot they spent money, it's that the spending never felt like spending while it was happening. Here's where it gets even more interesting, because this isn't just about cash versus card. It's about something much deeper: the relationship between friction, awareness, and financial behavior. Financial friction is any small resistance that makes you pause before spending. And it turns out that friction is incredibly powerful. The tiny moment of hesitation, counting out bills, checking your bank balance, even just entering a card number manually, those micro pauses force a micro decision. Do I actually want this? Do I actually need this? Most impulsive purchases can't survive that question. They only work when the answer doesn't have to be found. And modern payment systems are specifically designed to eliminate any space where that question could appear. One-click purchasing, saved card details, tap to pay, buy now, pay later. Every innovation in payment technology is, at its core, a friction removal tool. And every time friction is removed, spending goes up. There was a famous study done with a vending machine that accepted either cash or a prepaid card. When people used the card, they bought significantly more, and they also spent less time in front of the machine deliberating. The removal of friction didn't just increase spending, it removed the thinking almost entirely. Now, think about the last time you bought something on Amazon. You probably didn't even type your card number. You didn't confirm your balance. You clicked a button, maybe two, and a package is arriving Thursday. That entire experience was engineered so that the spending happens before the decision fully forms. There's also a rewards psychology trap that catches a lot of smart people off guard. Cashback and points programs are genuinely clever, but they do something sneaky. They reframe spending as earning. You're not just buying a pair of shoes, you're getting 2% back. You're not just booking a flight, you're accumulating points toward a free one. This reframe makes spending feel productive, virtuous even. And when spending feels like earning, the emotional brake on your wallet gets released a little further. Studies show that people with rewards cards actually spend more per transaction on average than people with non-rewards cards. Not because they're less disciplined, but because the rewards framing shifts their psychological relationship to the purchase. The small gain of points softens the larger loss of money. It's like someone offering you a free coffee if you buy 10. Suddenly, you're buying coffee a little more often, spending a little more overall, and walking away feeling like you won. The coffee shop, of course, built the math long before you did. So, what do you actually do with all of this? The answer isn't to cut up every credit card you own and live strictly on cash. That's an overcorrection, and honestly, there are legitimate benefits to responsible card use: fraud protection, credit building, and yes, rewards when managed carefully. But understanding the psychology means you can start to introduce intentional friction back into your spending. That might mean checking your running balance before you make a purchase, not after. It might mean setting up real-time transaction notifications so that every purchase sends a little reminder signal to your brain. It might mean reviewing your credit card statement weekly instead of waiting for the monthly bill, so spending never gets a chance to pile up in the dark. Some people find it useful to keep a rough mental count of what they've spent that week, the same way you naturally would with cash. Not because the math is different, but because the awareness is different. Awareness reintroduces friction. Friction reintroduces decision-making. Decision-making reintroduces control. The goal isn't to make spending painful, it's to make spending conscious. Because every purchase should be a decision, not just a reflex. Here's the thought I want to leave you with. The most expensive financial habits aren't the dramatic ones. They're not the big, reckless bets or the obvious mistakes. They're the small, invisible ones. The ones that feel like nothing in the moment. The ones that never trigger any discomfort. The ones that happen in the quiet space between a tap and a beep. Credit cards aren't evil, but they are powerful. And like any powerful tool, the people who use them well are the ones who understand exactly what they're holding. The companies that design these systems understand human psychology better than most of us understand ourselves. They've spent decades studying what makes people spend more, hesitate less, and think about money in ways that serve the house. The simplest edge you can get? Just know the game is
being played. Because the moment you see the friction being removed, you can choose to put a little of it back. And that small act of awareness, that tiny pause before the tap, might be one of the most quietly powerful financial habits you ever build.